Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Unstoppable Podcast. I'm your host, Ralph Graves Jr., and today my guest is none other than Mr. Ice Shaker himself. Did I say that right? Ice Shaker.
You got it.
Chris Gronkowski. Hey man, thank you for coming back, man.
Hey, man, last time we talked, I was just starting to build my house. I'm still building it years
Wow.
later. So this is pretty cool because you kind of met me at the beginning. Now you're meeting me at the end, man, again. So
Now, are you still building it because it's that big, or are we having trouble getting material in there? Well,
both
both.
is kind of
Yeah.
what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
it is a large house, but yeah, I mean, it was during the pandemic. Material was hard to get,
Yeah.
labor was
Difficult.
hard to get, and then
Yeah.
there was just some builders' errors, man. And then they didn't want to step up and fix them and take responsibility for what they did. So
Yeah.
uh, the entire house was laid with wood flooring, and the entire house had to be ripped up uh,
Wow.
with wood flooring and replaced with new wood flooring. So uh,
Wow.
quite the process, especially when someone refuses to do it, and then you got to wait, and then you got to let new wood sit, and you got to lay that and let it sit, and it's intense, man. So
So the
anyone that
first,
wants to
so
build a house,
So the first
good luck.
lesson today for the audience is no matter how fast you think something's going to get done, it's just never going to get done that fast.
Yeah, patience for sure.
Patience. Yeah, yeah,
Especially when building a house. That's it's tough. It's tough. I
yeah.
recommend buying one that's already built.
Okay. All right. I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep that in mind. Man, thanks for coming back on the show. And for those of you who haven't heard, maybe it's your first time hearing this podcast, we talked back in 21, right, brother? Around on 21. Did we talk in 21?
Oh
And
wow.
we had a fantastic conversation about his childhood and growing up and his product, Ice Shaker. We'll talk a little bit about that today. But we relaunched the podcast, man. And I wanted you to be one of the first guests, man, because you just have so much to say about perseverance and resilience and being unstoppable husband, father, you NFL player, business owner. It's just, people think these things are easy and that one thing automatically makes another thing work. But I want you to definitely share with us today how much work that everyone has to put in just to make life work. It's just, you got to keep showing up. You got to keep showing up, man. So tell us about Ice Shaker. Let's talk about Ice Shaker first. And we're going to dive into some other things, man. How's it going? How can we get the product? Describe the product one more time for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. So we just came off of a world record breaking event earlier this year, which is pretty cool. So we set the record for the most protein shakes shaken in a relay fashion. uh, and that we just recently did at our local youth high school football field.
Okay.
So it's really cool community builder. We raised a bunch of money for our local youth foundation as well.
Yeah.
And we broke a record. So pretty cool to say we have a world record now. But the company itself, we've been doing well. We just got the NFL licensing, which we're super pumped about. It was a challenge to get it. But yeah, I mean, the product itself started as a shaker bottle. We now have over 12 different types of insulated stainless steel bottles.
Wow.
Anything from a 1 gallon jug to a half gallon, 36 ounce, 26 ounce, 20 ounce, 14 ounce bottles. And they can be used for anything from mixing proteins to just as a water bottle. So the company's grown a lot. We sell in pretty much every channel, I feel like, at this point. And we do a lot of customization as well. So with the holidays coming up and birthdays, corporate events, we do a lot of just custom logoing, custom sayings on bottles for any type of event or person or gift. So company's been doing well. We've had a great run so far.
Now, listening to this program, man, we have a lot of young entrepreneurs and even older entrepreneurs, man. And they have these ideas. And sometimes, man, we get talked out of the idea that we have, or we might think it's stupid, or we might think, somebody else has that. When you first came up with this ice shaker, because all of us protein shakes would shake them up, they wouldn't stay cold, they wouldn't break down properly. What made you stick to the idea? Because I know some people tried to talk you out of it and said, no, that's not going to work, man. What made you stick to it, man, to persevere through this?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think pretty much everyone thinks you're going to fail. And everyone thinks it's a terrible idea. And it's tough at the beginning because The sales don't pour in when you first start up. No one even knows what it's about.
Yeah.
No matter how great the product is, I mean, you're not moving hundreds of thousands of units until you really get it out there and you really build a name for yourself, and you have reviews, you have people talking, you have the capital to really pour into it and build something awesome. So yeah, it's super tough at the beginning. I kept going because I was super passionate about it. I loved working out. I loved sports and fitness, and I wanted to get back into that space. So at that point, man, no one could really talk me out of it. And I just also had this competitive side. If I was going to go all in, if I was going to buy this product, which I bought 10,000 of them, I was going to find a way to sell them. There was no way that I was going to let those sit in my garage or in the upstairs of my house or whatever it was. I was going to make sure that I sold each and every bottle, that I purchased, because, that's just how I am. If I start something, I need to finish it. And that's what happened. It was tough, man. It was, it almost felt like it was impossible to get a couple sales when I first started, and going to shows and grinding it out on a weekend, and, waking up on a Monday after you work the entire weekend and doing it all over again is tough. But when you're super passionate about it, you just keep finding ways to win.
Yeah. You know what? You're speaking volumes right there, man, because I know so many authors like myself and a bunch of other authors I'm around. People have made T-shirts, and people, I know a lot of entrepreneurs that will buy their own product. And like you said, 2 years later, it's still sitting in the garage. And it takes something it takes some sort of it takes intestinal fortitude to really get out, pop open your trunk, and just sell your products. You have to really believe in that to make that happen, man. And I hope those are listening that you may have product in your garage. It might be 2 years old. It's time to get it out there. It's definitely
facts, man. That's the facts. Because at one point, you knew that was it, man. Like, you knew when you had the confidence that was the best product ever. And I think people just lose the confidence because it is tough, man. It's tough to get that first sale. It's tough to get it out there. It's tough to get people to believe in what you're doing and what you're selling. But if you keep riding it, man, you keep pushing it, you're going to get better and better, and more people are going to hear about it, and you're going to find your audience and the best way to sell it and what to say and how to do it the right way. So if you keep pushing, man, that stack in the garage or in the upstairs of my house is eventually going to fade away, and you're going to have to reorder.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you said something to key, man, just now is it being tough. What was, because I think it's natural that everybody wants to quit, but it's not natural to quit. But I think it's natural that, man, I may throw in the towel. This is not working out. I want to change directions. I think that might be a natural thing, but it's not natural to quit. The driving force, you said it was inside of you to really believe in your product and really get it out there. Did you have any other outside forces too that kind of really motivated you and fueled you to get it done?
Yeah, I
Anything or
mean, for
anybody?
sure. Yeah, I mean, you always have the person that says like, "Oh man, like there's no chance this is ever going to make it," right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you hear the talk, and I mean, it's negative energy, but it's motivating, especially early on. And sometimes, that's
yeah,
what it takes. That's what it
yeah,
takes.
yeah,
It's kind of like playing a sport, man. You got a guy talking trash, you're going to step your game up. And it's
yeah,
kind of the same way in business. Someone's talking trash saying you can't do it. You're going to make sure that you can get it done. So, man, I think that's with everything. I mean, you got to prove everyone wrong. You got to keep putting that work in. So
yeah,
outside forces for sure. I mean, there's also the positive side of it too. You have people like my dad, who's been in business for over 32 years,
yeah,
just giving me insightful tips like, hey, great idea. Start slow. Don't order too much. Make sure you get your staff, and you get your staff early. Make sure you have all your inventory in line. Really encouraging. But unfortunately, I didn't really listen to him much at the beginning. So, yeah, man, you kind of just hear the negative thoughts, and you kind of, you build on that. And really,
yeah,
for a lot of people, I think that's enough to get you going at the beginning.
yeah.
And then you realize pretty soon, man, that, they're negative because they just can't do what you're doing.
I
They
think we had talked about this a few years ago, man, about kind of letting the negative folks go. Once you find out they're in your staff. As a matter of fact, I know you and I talked about it
for
before,
sure.
and I wanted to ask you this: inventory and staffing. We have to have both. What's more important, the inventory or the staff to get it out?
Man, that's a tough question, man.
Yeah,
You go back and forth on all that. I mean, you got to have a product to sell, right? And
yeah,
you got to be able to provide good service. And if you don't have it in stock, it's super frustrating. Kind of learned that early on that we got all these customers, and they were getting frustrated because they would order and order and order and try to reorder, and we won't have the product. So
yeah,
definitely having product is massive. I mean, that's huge. If you run out, you're hurting yourself, and you're hurting reorders, and you're hurting your customers as well that have customers themselves that they're trying to buy for. So
sure.
product's huge. And then man, I mean, really people are everything in a business, in an organization.
Yeah,
So if you want to win championships, you have to have the right people on your team that are doing the right things to win overall. I mean, you have to have that right culture, and you have to be able to go into work every day and know that your team's there for the right reasons, not just to be there.
yeah, yeah. Now, in building your team, what are some of the key things you look at when it comes to building a team, man? You're from a, a, a famous sports family, man. You've played in the NFL. We're going to touch on that a little bit. Last time we talked, man, you talked about how your dad raised you guys. I think it was hockey first, right? Am I
Oh
right?
yeah.
It was
Oh
hockey
yeah.
before it was football. So we, playing sports your entire lives. Um, a lot of us really understand team. How do we make those who never played sports? I'm a retired police officer, played sports. I'm a retired police sergeant. Some of the hardest people to have on my squad were men and women who didn't play sports. Now I know that they were just very, very, they didn't understand the concept of do your job. So how do you deal with, or do you even hire people that don't have a sports background, don't understand that team background? There's some brilliant people who never played on teams before.
Yeah, man. I just had a friend that told me that he would never hire someone that didn't play a team sport before.
Yeah,
And I was like, that's very interesting. That might be my next interview question.
yeah,
I hadn't put that much focus on it up to this point, but
yeah,
just naturally it's happened where, the people that are in my organization now, especially the higher ups, they've all played team sports for sure.
yeah,
They know how to win. They know how to lose as a team. And
yeah,
kind of just naturally happened for me. So I guess I was kind of lucky in that aspect. It's also been years of kind of just finding the right people for the right spots as well. So
yeah, yeah.
it just kind of happened to fall in the right spots for me.
Yeah. It's natural when you grow up in it, man. It's natural. It's natural. When you're playing team sports since you've been 6 years old, you gravitate. I mean, like attracts like. It's just what it is. Like attracts like, and it is natural for that to happen. Let me ask you this, man. What how has failure or apparent failure shaped your life or prepared you for success later on? A failure or apparent failure, how has it prepared you for success later on?
Man, I mean, you gotta learn from it, right? So
Yeah.
uh, I learned from it over and over again when I first started the business. I don't know if we hit on it last time, but our first order, I mean, it came in 10,000 bottles upstairs in my house, and I shook the first three, and the fourth one I shook, it leaked everywhere. It just
Oh,
poured out. I could actually, I didn't even have to shake it. I just had to put water in it, hold it upside down, and just poured out
wow. Wow.
with the top closed on it. So, man, right from the beginning, it was, how do we get around this? How do we fix this? How do we make sure this never happens again? So it was now, finding third parties to come in and inspect the product before it was shipped out. It was now going upstairs of my house and twisting off every single lid on 10,000 bottles for 3 months and
Wow.
replacing every single one of them and checking them before they went out. And it was just a beatdown. But what it made me do was realize how important quality control really was, and to make sure that didn't happen again. So we then put all the processes in place after that to ensure I wasn't going to have to sit in the upstairs of my house for another 3 months and twist lids off. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's just one very small. I would say at the beginning it was a big deal, but at this point, looking back on it, probably a smaller problem that we faced that I've had to find solutions for. But yeah, you learn. I mean, if you fail or it's just not working out, it's not going the right way. Even with hiring employees, if someone comes in and it doesn't work out, a lot of people just say like, "Oh, it wasn't the right fit." I would always look at it and say, what could I have done better? Why wasn't it the good? Why wasn't it the person the right way? Did they just, did I not prepare them? Was this not, what I thought it was as well? How do I get better? So
Yeah.
at first, when I first started, it was all about, these people don't know what they're doing. How come no one wants to work? And
Yeah.
why can't I find anybody that wants to be here? And pretty soon realize that, you got to flip it, and you also have to be self-aware in what you're doing as well. And you have to build that culture and make people want to be there, and make people want to score that touchdown is kind of what it comes down to. If you want them to win, and you got to figure out how to make them want to win as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good stuff, man. Friend of mine, John Maxwell, says all the time, everything rises and falls on leadership. I can point the blame at people all I want to, but the bottom line is everything rises and falls on leadership. And I think what you just shared early on when it came about to the tops on the shaker bottles, I heard paying attention to detail. That's what I heard, that we really, no matter what the task is, sometimes we got to pay attention to detail. I mean, that's dedication to have gone through all those shaker bottles, 10,000, to make sure the top doesn't leak, man. But that's loving your product, believing in your product, paying attention to the detail of your product. And it's a wonderful product. I like to tell everybody that. We're going to tell everybody how to get it for themselves. And I didn't know you had gallon. We need to talk about that too. I'm gonna have to go back to the website. I just got the protein shaker. I need to get some of the other stuff as well. In the last 5 years, what new belief or behavior or habit has most improved your life?
Man, I mean, habit wise, I would say, by far it's having a schedule and sticking to it. Okay. I mean, it's crazy because I actually started off and I didn't have a calendar, no calendar. People like, hey, I'll call you tomorrow at 1. And it was like, okay, call me tomorrow at 1. And, I wouldn't even be around. I had no clue. But really, I kind of bring it back to like studying for a test. You always kind of wait till the last minute, you cram it in. But when there's like, it's the last night or you got to get a project done, you get it done, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a calendar for me. So if I put something on there and I block it off for 30 minutes, in that 30-minute time period, even if it's the last 10 minutes of that 30 minutes, I get it done. Okay. So the calendar has kind of been a sense of urgency for me, a sense of organization as well. And that's been a huge change since I started the business. When I first started, it was all about just get it done, get it out the door. Really no planning, no organization. It was, we just got to get it out the door kind of deal. Now it's all about let's plan, let's be ready for it. Let's make sure we have it. Let's make sure we have the right people in place, make sure the right inventory is in place. And it all just takes a lot of planning. And it all starts with having a calendar and a day-to-day to-do list.
So you look at that calendar every day. Is it a weekly thing? Is it something you do? I time block. I try to start Sunday night, and I kind of time block the rest of the week, filling in some things as it goes along. But is it something you look at that? I know you look at it daily, but do you schedule it at night, the night before, or how do you do it?
Yeah, no, a lot of stuff's coming up throughout the week that I'm adding onto the calendar.
Right. Okay.
I have certain times for certain things as well. I like to attack really the stuff that's going to take a lot of attention and a lot of concentration. I like to do in the morning when I'm fresh and I'm ready to kind of take on bigger projects, and I'm not flustered yet from all the stuff that's hit me throughout the day. So, or even on weekends, like I will take a weekend and I'll use it to kind of wake up early and attack things that I knew were going to be tough to get done when my phone was ringing or I was getting emails coming in. So, I'm always kind of building out my calendar as it goes. But I'm looking at it the night before and saying, hey, this is what's coming. This is what I got to be prepared for. Kind of thinking back and thinking through my day at nighttime before. Sure. And then I wake up, I check it again. I go to the gym and I kind of make sure I know what's good for the day, and I crush a workout, and then I get the day started.
Typical morning for you starts at what time, Chris?
Man, so today up at 4:30. I'm trying to get to the gym around 5.
Okay.
I won't work out for more than 45 minutes. So I'll do 45 minutes, and then I do like to play a team sport. So I'll play something like pickleball or pick up basketball. try to play that for like 45 minutes if I'm going to get some cardio in. And then I'm home to get the kids ready for school and get them out the door. And then my work day starts.
Yeah, pickleball is taking America by storm. I've never played it yet. Everyone talks about it. I may have to get out there and give it a shot.
It's good, man. You pick it up quick, and you surprisingly get some good cardio in, especially as you get better. So it's got me more shredded. I could tell you that.
Okay, I'm gonna have to keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Last couple questions, man, because I don't want to hold you up long, man, because it's been very helpful, and I'm glad we touched on the calendar piece, man, and keeping a schedule, because a lot of listeners, man, are really trying to make it, man, really trying to get it going, and that keeping a schedule, it freed me. It didn't put me in chains. It actually opened up, me really learning how to keep a schedule, man. So I'm definitely glad you you definitely shared that. Let me ask you this question, man. What advice would you give a college student, someone driven about entering the real world? They're driven. And they don't have to be college. They're just, you know what? I'm older now. I'm in my early 20s, and I'm really doing this real world thing. What advice would you give them, no matter what the industry was?
Yeah, I mean, get out there and do it. Do it first. Get an internship if you can, and try to find the best person that's doing what you want to do, and learn from them. I mean, that's really it. I wish I could have done that. I didn't do any internships. I didn't really know what I was going to be doing. And then I went and started my own business, and I've never really seen someone run it the right way until I kind of went back and started asking and really looking for those answers. So I never even worked in a big like corporate setting, so I didn't really understand like, why do we need these rules, and why does everyone need to follow these certain procedures? And
Right.
thought it was crazy at first. I'm like, yeah, we don't need corporate settings. We don't need those type of rules.
Yeah.
Let's kind of just wing it, and everyone's going to show up, right? And everyone's going to do the right thing on their own. Unfortunately, that isn't the case at all. So getting out there, actually learning from someone that does a great job, and seeing that culture, and seeing what they built and how they built it is, I mean, it's really invaluable. So at this point, like, I love going to businesses now and just seeing how things work.
So
Like,
mentorship is important. Yeah.
huge, absolutely huge. So mentorship's great. Asking for help is huge. If you're going to actually do it, man. I like helping people out. I hate when people ask just for advice and never actually use my advice. So,
Right.
If you're going to reach out and you're going to say, hey, how do you do this? How'd you build this out? And then the next week I see you doing something completely different, exactly opposite of what I said, or just not using the info at all. It gets kind of frustrating, but I've seen both sides of it. I've seen stuff where I've told kids that have reached out and they're in the college level or even high school, and I've seen them put it in motion, and it's awesome to see. So when they do reach out and they do put it into effect, man, it's a great feeling.
It's awesome, man. Thank you for sharing that. Chris, let's talk about the product. Let's talk about how this audience can find you. And then I'll have one final question. Where can we find the products? Give us the website, give us everything. And I'm going to put this in the captions. You guys are going to see it all over the place on every platform. But Chris, where can we find the product?
Yeah, for sure. We're everywhere now for the most part. But let's see, iceshaker.com still the best spot. I mean, if you're an Amazon buyer, it's going to be there as well.
Okay.
I know if you're an Amazon buyer, you don't always like buying from websites. So we're in GNC, Vitamin Shop, all the Lifetime Fitnesses, all the 24-hour fitnesses. We got in all the Sprouts. We're in half the Walmarts. So it's definitely out there in retail as well. But if you're looking for the best, the newest, the custom, the engraving, all that kind of stuff, just check out our website at iceshaker.com.
I love it. I love it. Where can they follow you?
Yeah, check me out. It's at Chris Gronkowski, pretty much on all the platforms, but
okay.
Most active at this point on Instagram.
Okay. Very good. Guys, follow him there. Chris, last question, man. If you could have a billboard anywhere, where would it be and what would it say? Anywhere in the world, where would it be and what would it say?
That's crazy. A billboard anywhere. I mean, my thing's always been from day one. Hard work pays off at the end of the day. That's it, all day, every day. If you put the work in, you're going to be successful. I put it where the most people that can see it, but really I'd like to inspire people that are younger. that are starting to put that work in. Even if it's a high school locker room, a football locker room or a
Okay.
stadium,
Okay.
would be pretty cool. Because I mean, we have a youth foundation. If you could change one kid's attitude or future by a couple pieces of advice, it could change the world. So definitely would love to impact our kids as much as possible and let them know that from day one, learn how to work hard, learn how to put that work in, get your schoolwork done, get the work done on the field, and you're going to be successful no matter what you do.
Thanks, Chris, man. Thank you for spending time here, man. This was the second time that you came and hung out with me, man. Hope we can do it again, and maybe it won't be so long of a time in between, man. Thank you for sharing all of that wisdom, and the folks here at this audience, at Unstoppable Audience, will be checking you out and will be supporting you. And the information about your foundation, where can we find that?
For sure. It's the Gronk Nation Youth Foundation. So just go to the website there, gronknationyouthfoundation.com.
Well, thank you, man. GronkNationYouthFoundation.com. And
That's it.
let's be a part of that. Chris, thanks for coming on, man. Guys, you've been listening to the Unstoppable Podcast with Ralph Graves Jr. And remember, let's be unstoppable together.